Hey everybody, welcome back to Steve's Garage. Here we are, we're working on the 35 Ford Model 48. For anybody that's just joining us for the first time, this was a Ford Model 48, had the hump back, and this roof was back here. We moved this roof, we cut it, moved it forward by 21.5 inches, and then we lowered the front half of the roof by an inch, including the windshield. We cut all that down. So I'd like to start off also by saying to everybody who has subscribed and left their comments to me, thank you very much. All good comments. Everybody's been very kind and sharing your other projects. I had one guy say that I'm inspiring him to work on his project. So that's what it's all about. Again, I always say, I'm a hobbyist. I'm retired. This is what I'm doing to pass the time, and I truly enjoy it. I'm learning the craft as I go, and hopefully I'm helping you out just with the thought of getting into the garage and doing your own stuff, and just trying to show that, I think we all can do it. It's just a matter of some learning curves, and that's the bottom line. And just taking some chances, be bold and go for it, So here we are. The last video you saw, I had done some rust prevention in the back here. I made a floor pan for the rear of the trunk area, and I put these two pieces in here. And today I want to secure this trunk area, cut out, make sure I have the access to my what am I trying to say? It's the float control for empty, full in your gas tank. There's a sender here, and it has a float in it. And when you put your gas in, that rises up and down. It has a low voltage electronics to it, and that goes to your your gas gauge. And simple enough, right? So I've also started with a pattern for moving forward here, and I wanted you to see that pattern in place, and so you can get your thoughts on it, see what you think. I think it kind of makes everything make sense now, I also have my microphone right here on my shirt, and I hope I'm not talking too loud. I'm going to try not to talk too loud because that microphone's pretty darn sensitive. It works very well. And I noticed on other videos, depending on where I have it, it kind of bounces around, and you can hear that static. So hey, it's not NBC here, man. If you know what I'm saying. We're just doing what we got with what we got. So let's get this thing nailed down a little bit. Hey, I hope everyone's doing good. We had some snow here finally. I guess they had it everywhere, including Florida. So get your skis out down in old Tampa or wherever the hell it was. So let's take a look at this. Now, I just took some paper, obviously, and just went in there and cut it around my trim line here, laid it on, and this gives you a visual. Let me back up. I've got my sheet metal here. We're going to be heading for cutting. So this now gives you a visual, good visual of what this is going to look like. So, I'm hoping to do this piece in one piece of steel. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but I'm going to give it a hell of a try. So I've made this pattern. I've add a 1/2 inch here and add 1 inch to this side So if I'm long over here, this is the side we're really working down here. This is the side we're working hard. And then whatever we wind up over, we'll measure back and make that cut after this has all been adjusted in. So, this overage will keep us, it'll give us room to move, and make our mistakes and cut back, and hopefully we'll get it done in one shot and not waste a piece of steel. But as I've said multiple times, I'm learning. So let's show you what we're doing here. I'm going to take this pattern off and put it aside for now. This piece of steel that I've had on the horses behind you, I have washed down. It all comes with an oil on it. I would imagine they're using some type of vegetable oil. I don't know that for a fact, but I wouldn't think they'd be throwing out tons and tons of oil. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. If it was me, I would use a Bio-D food grade oil. Now, if you can see in here, I'll zoom you in. Henry Ford, which I noticed when I was looking at this, I'm like, why is, this piece of wood in here was like moved over. I'm like, I swore I took a bolt out of that hole. What the hell's going on there? And then when I put my hands down, I figured out there's a piece of wood in there. So at the factory, old Henry's guys put this block of wood inside here, and then they either drilled through the wood, or these are pre-made probably. A little screw was holding it in place, and then they, if you can see that screw right there, bouncing around. And then they might have drilled right through it and then put the bolt in afterwards. But what I want to do is mark out where the holes are, because when I put this piece of steel in place, I'm not going to have access. You're not going to be able to drill it from the bottom, because this is, your frame's down there and you can't get in at an angle. So I'm going to mark out that blue tape, and when I put the piece of steel in place, I'll know in line where I want that. So let me grab a square. Kicking you around, sorry about that. Grab a square and basically, I'm going to open up on that a little bit. So I'm just putting that in the center of the hole. I've kind of lined it up on the center of this piece here. So I know that's the center of the hole. And then I'm going to measure it and know where I'll be when I put that piece in. So when I measure from here, I've got to move it so I can put my head right in front of that camera. So from here, I'm 1 5/8 to the center. I'm going to write 1 5/8 on my piece of tape. Here at 1 5/8. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Damn, boy. Sorry about that. I gotta get a new camera guy. This one sucks. So we'll quickly mark this out. Mark our center. Measure. And again, the 1 5/8. That's the easy button. Let me get a drill. So one thing before I drill, get this back up into place. I've got to mark out, if you can see what I'm pointing at. Yes. This is the sending unit here. There's 6 screws up here, which is standard. So you can buy these repopped, and 6 flathead screws. This whole unit comes out. I'm going to leave it in there because, again, like I've said before, this whole frame's coming off, or the whole body's coming off, and then the tank and all the mechanical underneath. We've got to do brakes, you name it, it's already done. So that is that. So let's get this thing set up. So the bottom line is, if this sending unit ever needs to be worked on or replaced, this has screws, or not screws, these are nuts here which thread on to this sending unit, and they can be loosened up, taken off, and you can replace either your fuel line or your electronics for this sending unit. So I'm sure the 1936 or 35 technology way different than the new electronics that we're putting in the new tank, But that's the way old Henry did it. And it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. So this thing comes to here. I'm going to measure that length. So I want to be like 9 inches. Or probably 10 inches. I want to be able to get that off. Nice, so we'll measure in 10. Mark that off. I've got a delivery here, so I'm going to pause for a second. Now I'll let him do his thing. That's fine. Anyway, thinking out loud as usual. So let's mark this up. Cut this. Afterwards, I'll make a little door to go there. A little panel. Snow this morning. The weather has been crazy here. It's been 4 degrees yesterday. This morning it was 7 degrees, and with a high of like 30 degrees today we're going to get. So we're in a deep freeze like the rest of the country, but hey, what are you going to do? Stay warm. That's all you can do. All right. Put a little clamp on this. Clamping your work down when you're cutting is a good idea, and I think you know the reason, because these blades can grab, throws the work, but it throws the blade into the work also, and you know, catastrophe could strike at any minute, so you really want to be as careful as you can all the time. Perfect. Boy, the light really affects that. There's such bright sunlight here this time of year. It really affects the camera lens. Again, I've said it a million times, we are in the middle of winter and the sun is way down low. I'm facing south over there, which is awesome. Southern view, that's right. Southern exposure, you all heard that. Alright, that's cool. So now you can see, if you can see in there, I'm always checking the camera for you cats to see where we're at. And that exposes right here where our sending unit is, just in case you ever have to replace it. Now, tape measure, and my marker. So yes, a lot of great comments from all you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We gonna mark out 1 5/8. Guys have mentioned, and again, please read the comments. I think, you know, with this video, with this channel, what I'm trying to do is open up a dialogue with everybody. You know, all these channels, I think nobody talks to each other that's watching the channel. So what I'm trying to we're trying to achieve this, is, everybody can talk amongst themselves within the comments about their projects. I mean, quite a few guys have mentioned what they're building right now, and I think that's awesome. All kinds of different cars. So keep up the good work. Don't be afraid. Go in and hit it. exactly what I want to do. So we've opened right through to those holes. And then this pyramid drill, or step drill they call it, will just do the rest of the work. Even if you're off center a little bit, it'll drag it to the center. So let's take a look at what happened there. And you can see the hole is right there. Again, it's always hard, but we're right dead center in the hole on both sides. It's hard to see like every damn thing, but if we take our pen, you can see it goes right down through. Actually, the pen's bigger than the hole. They used some very thin bolts. I may drill these out a little further. Again, we're right where we need to be. But their bolts for holding it down were only like 3/8. So I don't know, if that means a hill of beans or not, but I guess it's all until you're rolling over, hoping the body stays on the car. Everyone, I've had people ask me, so these cars that you rebuild here, and are they safe? I'm like, let me tell you what. I'm putting 5/8 hardened steel bolts to hold my shit together, and now I see Henry Ford's 3/8 soft bolts. And I'm like, what? Obviously, I think mine will hold together compared to those things. So another thing we've gone back and forth on is the spare tire. Now, a lot of guys say, not a lot, a couple guys have said, maybe you should forego the spare tire. Well, I may not be a purist, because obviously I'm cutting them apart, but I like the looks of the old stuff. So if you look at this picture, there's the spare on the back, all painted red, and I'm sure they got a piece of steel in there, and that's all, decked out with, what am I trying to say? With pinstriping or something painted in there, or Ford. And to me, that's like dressing on the cake. That's like, those are the details. I remember I had a Buick, a 54 Buick that I bought, and it was a Buick Century, and this has 3 holes on the side, 3 portholes, and it was beautiful, 54, a lot of steel. This thing was a monster, and I painted that and did it over, and I went and got a Continental kit for it, and one guy says, "Oh, I don't like the shit kit on it," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, thanks." But, it doesn't matter what people think. It's just a matter of your own personal preference. So that's what it comes down to. I'm going to do what I want, and everyone else do what they want. So, and then it's, just a few bolts that hold this thing in. Hold your spare on. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that holds the chunk of iron that's on the back here. So this goes on here, goes on there, and the spare goes on top. So my thinking is, if you wanted to forego the spare, you could always unbolt this and just put 4, because this will be on the inside and the steel will be on top of it. Just put 4 like stainless steel acorn nuts on it, and you know, no one would know what it was for, but again, we're just building as we go. Let's see where we get, and I can always make decisions as I go. So if I don't want to put it on, hey, as the song goes, it's my prerogative. Now I got to figure out how low this sucker has to go, and let's grab a level and get cutting. So actually, the part of the bracket where I cut off is down the bottom here. I'm kind of like looking to re-bolt onto that. Plus, it gives me my center, or cut this onto that, down to that height. And so what I'm seeing is it's going to go at least a couple inches. Hey, we're earning as we learn here, guys. That's what we do. Figure it out. So if that's in plane, I mark that. Let's go over to the bench. So here's my lines where I mark that, here and here. So this level here has to come down to there. So if I take this number and then measure it up from here and cut it, oh, that'll give us a starting off point. So let's try that. That's 2.5 inches. That's a good starting point. Over there, so 2.5. 2.5. Let's see if we're, that's 3.5. 3.5, hey, hey. For me. And then we're going to be somewhere, like around there, like the same plane. So we'll do the same here. We're just guessing as we go, guys. That's all you can do. All right, so got to try to secure this somehow. As you can see, there's lots of, I'm just thinking as I go here, because it's like, I don't know, honestly. Let's figure it out, that's all. So there's that, that, face protection. Let's see what we got. I'm talking about right there is grabbing your work. So clamp things down. So you have a small piece and it shoots off. Well, what do you got? You got problems. You don't want to get hurt. None of us want to get hurt doing this. It's a hobby. I mean, even if you're doing it to make money, you don't want to get hurt. Stay safe, my friends. Stay safe. Oh. Telling you what, I don't know if that was just luck or what. A little luck right up here. Well, like I always say, it's better to be lucky than good. You gotta be in pictures. Enough to piss off the pulp. Alright, let's try that. Now I'm gonna get a couple of magnets. Now, we may have discussed these magnets before, but these are straight out of, you know, your local box store, and they're really handy. When I looked at them for a long time. I don't mean in one sitting a long time. I mean, I kept going in and I say, I don't know. I don't know. And then I finally bought them and Jesus, I love them, really. Now, I'm going to get into action because first shot out of the barn, you witnessed it here. That was pretty darn lucky. So there's, you can see, right on the money, touching here, touching both sides. And as I come up though, I'm a little high here. Then we're back. So I think what I'm going to do is just take a little notch. A little notch out of here and here where it hits that corner, and that should just lay it down a little further. And then when I'm done, we're going to have to put, weld this all in good, so this thing will be independent to hold the tire alone by itself, so it's not throwing pressure in and out of the metal, you know what I mean? So it's not, wonka, 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 like we like to say. So, that's professional talk there, wonka, wonka, wonka. So let me mark that off. I don't know if there's a term for that, but we don't want it wonky. I guess wonky is something people say. So we're gonna go to 45 in there. So I gotta set a plane, something, I need a visual, something to go by visually, so I know if that's flat and I just put, it's just going to give me, I'm not going to cut that line I put on, but it's going to give me a straight line, so I know that that's my straight line with the frame, and then I'll go 90 off of that and make my 45 degree. And my cut just has to be tiny, and maybe 3/8 or so in. Well, I hope you're all enjoying it today. One of them days, we're just kind of trying to get some stuff done. See, there's the line I was talking about. Got my plane. Can you see that? Man, the light is horrible, isn't it? Hang on a second. Hang on a second, guys. Hang in there. I'm going to put you on pause. There you go. I put that old invention on by Thomas Edison called electric light. So there's that line that gives me that plane. So I know if I go 90 on that, and just cut my little mark out of here where I mark both sides, that's the way it's got to be. Does that make sense? Maybe, maybe not. So let me mark the opposite sides. Yes, we had snow. My favorite thing. Not really. All right. So let's bolt this down. This is going to work, but we'll give it the old college try. I just got to keep looking at the camera and make sure you're a couple of things in the frame and on, because sometimes I hit pause and forget to put it back on. And it may be a little overcut, but we can obviously fill in that steel. So let's check this out. Magnets on. That's perfect. So what I can do now, if I need to make a little adjustment, I can do is tack that bottom on in place, and then I can just lift that up a smidgy because I'm off maybe by, you know, like 1/8 of an inch there. So that gets that where it needs to be. And I don't have to commit to that thing yet. I can still, you know, opt out at any point. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this like here, and then I can put a piece of angle stock across here to tie that in, and that will actually give me my flat plane here. If I put a piece of angle stock across here, that will get that to the height it needs to be, and there's the answer. See how we thought right through that? Huh? Come on. Everybody, get in line. All right, so let's measure the width of that. I'm gonna get some angle iron. Hold on. Okay, so went into my shop and got some 3/4 angle, 31 and a half. Still 31 and a half everywhere, where you want to be. So let's take and cut a piece off, 31 and a half. Looking for my tape measure. Oh, here it is. Right next to the rattlesnake. 31 and a half. Piece we want square, so I'll take our little carpenter square. We will mark that. We'll again clamp. Clamp it, Jed. Keep it clamped. Oh, that's hot. Watch out for the hot end. All right, so one other thing we got to do is I'm going to cut this here. Cut that there. We'll use our square once again. Move this. All right. I'm just picking it. Not measuring it. Good. Clamp. Clamp, bolt the pants. Now y'all remember Floyd, right? Floyd the barber? Well, that's for you guys out there. All you old guys like me know who Floyd was. A funny guy. Oh, one other thing. I got these bolts on here that were for something. Now, because this was cut off exactly in line with that bracket, that already tells me that I'm centered. So I'm putting this piece on. What I think I want to do now, because I'm a big fan of measuring, let's get a couple of clamps. I think I use spring loaded. I use spring clamps. A little bit easier. Perfect. Welcome to my world. Get back to our magnet. Magnets are perfect, dude. Telling you, get yourself some magnets. You will not be disappointed. That's like perfectly lined up. Now, okay, now these suckers in place. All right, so now what we're going to do, because nothing in life is perfect, I'm going to measure 14 3/4 plus 14 3/8. I'm going to bring this one up. Bring this one down. And now we are 14 9/16. 14 3/4. Bring that down a smidge. 14 1/2. 14 1/2 plus a smidge. I'm going to call that perfection. 14 1/2, 14 1/2. Now, the only thing I need to do is clean up this metal a little bit.
All right. I put a little rust encapsulator on the back after grinding it, and I ground the front. Did that in about 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So it's all cleaned up. That's good old Henry Ford steel there. And get it back lined up again. See is perfect right there. So we checked our numbers. 14 and a half. 14 and 9/16. 14 and 9/16. So, fire up the welder. Tack that on. Hook up your ground. Doing that slow so I don't move anything. Do a line here. Good. Good. Gas on. Easily, it's only tacked right here. And we can tack this bottom on. So let's do a time check, see where we're at. Oh, we're at 55 minutes. So let's take another look. We got this lined up now. Show you with our next time I'm going to get all this welded up here, so next time I'll be able to start working on this metal. I'm so excited to work on metal. And like I said last time, it's like, you know, you got to get through the other stuff before you move on to the fun. And so that shows you where we're heading. Like I said, it's a process. I couldn't be happier. Now that I've made this pattern, I feel really confident about getting this piece of steel in place. At first I said, and I may have to cut this and do it in 2 pieces. I'm going to try to get this in 1 piece. I don't know. Like I said, this is the 3rd car I built, so I've done some metal work, but this is kind of an aggressive, long piece. Can I do it in 1 shot? Hey, we'll see. We'll find out. But I've already got the English wheel, the planishing hammer out, got them all tuned up, ready to go. So hey, until next time, everybody, have a great day. Stay warm. If it's snowing down in Florida, I don't know how much further you got around to Key West, I guess. So when you see your friends, tell them Steve said hello, and old Floyd the barber says hey. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. The project's coming along great. Thanks so much for all your support.